go to the place where danger waits, and it's bound to forsake me. So stupid minded, but I go crazy when I can't. Flying high in the fearless sky, without leaving the ground. The rest of the folks are tired and weary, and have laid their bodies down. To the place where danger waits, and it's bound to forsake me. So stupid minded.
Be written, so let it be done.
All right, if y'all see that name, do you know where you are? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. We are more than music. We introduce you to your future favorite artists today while highlighting the people who have set this hip hop cultural foundation down strongly so that we can stand upon their shoulders and make the world greater by our example and representation of them and this culture ourselves. My name is Karev. I thank you for joining me. Before we get started, I want to say rest in peace to Brother Everlast. This is his brand, Total Truth Apparel. Shout out to his faith and what he stood for. Also, I'd like to say rest in peace to Boss, Detroit legend MC, who was in the game, female gangster rapper, Def Jam West, and also rest in peace to Miss Melinda Hill of Save the Kids Village, someone who put it down for the community and shows that hip hop is more than just our music. It's also how we stand for these children, these babies, these elders, and people in our community. Today's episode focuses on a young man who's becoming not only an elder statesman through experience, but he's growing in his music right in front of our eyes. Hip hop is a youth movement. And not only does it move from left to right, it also moves from down to up, meaning that as it grows and it excels, it raises the bar through life experience and being able to live a story, not just tell a story. This artist has been on Heritage Hip Hop before, but it's been a while since we talked to him. So we're going to catch up with him and not only talk about his growth, but about his new album, GT3 Chakology. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to someone or reintroduce you to someone who not only is hip hop, but he shares the lessons of life through his hip hop. I like to bring to you AJ Chaka. What's good, fam?
Hey, what's going on with it, my brother? What's going on? It feels great to be back on Heritage Hip Hop. It's a great platform, really pushing the culture forward. And that's what AJ Chaka is all about. So it's great to be back.
True indeed. And look, man, let's just catch up from the last time we spoke.
Most definitely.
You've released like 3 more projects.
Yeah, man. So
I know.
yeah.
It's been 3 projects, and through those 3 projects up to the new project, I hear a lot of growth. So what has life been like since we've been through COVID to the dropping of the 3 projects to now?
Man, for the most part, I would say life has been great. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely been up and down. I mean, I know when we did our first interview, that was right before the pandemic, you know what I'm saying? So there was a whole transitional phase that for everybody that went between that time all the way till now. It's 2024 now. So I'm like, man, that's pretty cool, man. I didn't did some more work, you know what I mean? So all around, the up and down aspect is just going with the ebbs and flows of life, you know what I'm saying? And just the balance of everything. But being consistent, is knowing to be able to keep pushing through. And well, I'm still here. So that stands for something, right?
It stands for a lot because in today's world, especially after COVID, we see people die day after day after day. So blessings on you, and I'm thankful that you're still alive and your family's around and you still have people in your corner fighting with you and for you. You see what I'm saying?
Likewise, bro. Likewise.
Now let's get back to the heart of where you at. Right now, you told me you're in Dallas, Fort Worth. What that Texas life be like? Talk about that music scene. What it's like?
Yeah, man. I'm in the DFW, man. DFW Metro place, man. Everybody moving here, man. I'm like, God dang, man. It was a novelty when I first came here. You know what I'm saying? Coming from like we had said previous interview, I didn't touch living in California, where I'm from, Sacktown. Then stayed in the Midwest out there in Ohio, who has actually a really developing music scene as well. So to come out here and I've been out here for like 12 years now. So I'm like, man, I'm pretty much fully integrated at this point. Man, the music scene is dope, man. We just had a young kid in the city, man. He just got a record with Drake, 4 bats, and he's really taking off. And not even just him, AJ Chaka, I say artists like a Coach Tev or a Devi Stones, or a Lou Charles. There's a lot of great talent, like a Rakim Al-Jabbar. Like it just in this region right here, there's a lot of great talent that's coming out the DFW with real spitters, and really it's like a melting pot of just a whole bunch of different styles of hip hop. So right now, being a young guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, can you still hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Keep talking while you get your screen up. Go ahead.
Okay, most definitely. Yeah, so pretty much the whole scene here is developing. We got a whole rise of artists that's doing their thing, they killing it. And it feels great to be one of the young brothers on the scene who a lot of the OGs and the pioneers in this area have seen me come, from the bottom, putting in my footwork, doing the open mics, doing the necessary steps properly with the business, taking the music, learning how to properly grassroots market yourself and combine it properly with the digital marketing that we have today. And I wouldn't say I'm the traditional sound of the DFW, but I've been able to find a good niche here on my own because AJ Chaka is in his own lane. And so that's a very great thing, like we spoke of last time.
I love the fact that you said that. So let's let some of the people who don't know understand. DFW is Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, correct?
Right, 2 cities.
So what's the difference between the DFW sound and Houston?
Well, the DFW specifically, it doesn't really have a sound. I would say probably their old sound probably used to be a lot of dance style records. They had like some crunk wave a little bit. Like a lot of the dance songs came out of here, like the Stanky Leg. You know what I'm saying? The Booty Doo, stuff like that. They do like the Dallas Jug, stuff like that. So I know a lot of those dances go around United States and around the world as far as the dance culture. But as far as the sound here, man, like the DFW, you'll have a side like you got the spitters, right? And then you got the gangster rap kind of aspect or the trap lane, you know what I'm saying? Then you got the southern rap lane, you know what I'm saying? Then you got like the kind of alternative hip hop lane, like they kind of eclectic or they doing some other stuff over there, but pretty much it's a place for everybody. So in comparison to Houston, Houston has a real thick integrated sound and identity that they have with the pioneers of their area who've all worked together and built something for that city. So uh, being an artist in a DFW, I think that's an advantage. You know what I'm saying? A lot of there was a chart that came out pretty much showcasing in this city. There's so many music professionals that live here, whether they're an executive, award-winning producer, multiple songwriters, MC, and a lot of those people they live here. Maybe they work for a lot of these big labels or these big companies, but their foundation is here. And so knowing that being an artist here, you definitely want to put in your work and really carve out an identity for this because there's no sound. So you are the sound essentially. So when I say AJ Chaka being one of the lyrical assassins of the DFW, that means I represent the sound of this city.
I love what you said. Yo, hit that like button, everybody. If you're coming up in here, hit that like button. All my people on Instagram, salute, salute, salute. What's going on? Make sure you join us on YouTube so I can get your comments. All right. More importantly, though, you said something very impressive, and you didn't see this last time you was here. We have a Let's Build section of the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast where you say something, and we're going to take that into a bigger conversation to show the depth of knowledge of this artist so you can connect with them. Being that there's a lot of places coming out with artists are being found, or we get this good music, a lot of people always pigeonhole hip hop to sex, violence, and misogyny or drug use. And if the sound of hip hop is so diverse, why do you think it seems like people only focus on those 3 or 4 different aspects of hip hop and ignore everything else?
Well, I mean, I would say that that's one of the most popular topics based on where the people are at. Just simple as that. You know what I'm saying? But when you start to open more pages or start to read more chapters of the actual book, you start to begin to realize there's deeper meanings even to that. Esoterically, if we talking about sex, that we could be talking about, a woman saying on the record how she likes the way that a man walks. Well, she likes his legs. Well, she likes the foundation from which he stands. But being a more advanced writer, you could take it in that direction. You know what I'm saying? In regards to these different topics, I just think that that's just based on where people are at. We know a lot of it is based on ideas being pushed to people like, hey, cultivate a record like this where we're trying to get the black demographic and we want you to make a particular song about sex, right? We want you to make a song about getting money because it's going to help us fund our private prisons. But that's a whole different direction. You know what I'm saying? So in regards to being an open-minded artist, I always thought hip-hop was about being creative and being original. So with that, you get to have the opportunity to have your own themes and concepts where you get to talk about stuff that you feel like, and that's something I definitely try to do.
That's a freedom that a lot of artists don't have because they're trying to get on, or they're trying to catch a wave, or they're trying to appeal to people who have so many people clogged in that lane that they're trying to break through.
Right.
As an artist who has skill and talent outside of the norm when it comes to the perception of what hip hop is, how do you introduce people to other sides of hip hop with your music?
Pretty in what way, like specifically?
Like, you have a song. I don't want to. I don't want to go to the latest project. Let's go back a little bit, y'all, because this is an artist that has some work out, and we need to celebrate his work ethic. Talk about For the Record for me, because that's not about I'm about to shoot somebody in the head type stuff.
Yeah.
Talk to me about For the Record, by the way. Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, For the Record, man, that's one of the highlights from GT2. I remember, always keep it official when you aim for your dream, money, power, respect, the 3 things in between. So that's really the tagline of the whole song. If you don't remember nothing, a lot of people still quote that line right there. it pretty much For the Record is just about leaving it all on the table. You know, this is I present it. This is what the game is. You know, you don't have to like it. You don't have to respect it, but we just acknowledge it for what it is. And you know, just whether it was the theme of trying to get it, you know, coming from the underdog, from the bottom position to dealing with a game where, you know, you may have pillars that are standing against you that are invisible barriers for a skilled artist to get past, you know what I'm saying? And you have to find different cheat codes within this game to find ways to move forward and get what you want out of it respectively. You know what I'm saying? So For the Record is really just highlighting the cheat code of the way to think when you're coming in the game. You know what I'm saying? And that's why it's called For the Record.
And the thing is, in society, everybody wants a come up, right?
Absolutely.
But how about this? Everybody wants to be led and can't be a leader.
True.
Everybody claims being a leader, but they always wait for somebody to tell them or show them. Why do you think that message of hip hop is so hated, but yet people will always show you how to lose yourself instead of gaining yourself with your evolution and growing process in the music?
Right. Well, I mean, I think it's popular to lose yourself today. You know what I'm saying? I mean, based on the algorithm, you know, so, you know, if we see a plethora of successful artists or stars in a position where, you know, they're besides themselves, right? And they have a mass of followers, right? Well, where technically where you look at the number of followers, I don't want to look at it based on the social media thing. I'm looking at it from a stance where esoterically, right? That's your army. You know what I'm saying? So just to touch on even a sticky topic, like being in Texas, like I remember when Travis Scott, you know, had his Astro World Fest, and you know it had the horrific incident that happened over there with the performance. You know what I'm saying? And so when I look at the crowd, you know, engaging with the material, not necessarily that it's a Travis Scott thing, it just shows that how a lot of these artists really mistake the fact that you're an MC. So when you're actually, you know, MCing the whole crowd, man, they're like an army under your possession, and you could take them in different directions with different twists and turns based on that. You know what I'm saying?
That's very profound. Because check this out. Everybody's doing this to get heard, and being heard means you get listened to. And when you're heard and listened to, that turns into money.
Right.
Check this out. With the Music Modernization Act, do you feel that will help you?
The Music Modernization Act, is this in regards to having a increased differential on the royalty rate in regards to streaming?
Yes. Well, for everybody who doesn't know, it was brought on Congress steps about, well, Kanye West first did this with Donald Trump.
Okay.
And what was supposed to be was every 15th of the month, you were supposed to get paid.
Right.
But it didn't have anybody to streamline it, so it just fell at people's feet, right? And then a senator, I guess Ms. Tlaib, she brought to the Senate floor how artists would have to stream over 800,000 times per day to make the equivalence of $15 an hour for a living wage.
Right.
So she put on the Music Modernization Act that says for each stream, for every stream, instead of getting a fraction of a penny, you get a penny, period. Right?
Okay.
And yes, the Music Modernization Act, as I read it, says it ensures that composers and lyricists are paid a portion of mechanical license royalties for either physical or digital reproduction of musical compositions at a rate set by contract. So that means, as an independent artist, not only do you now can demand a certain rate, the paperwork has to be right, but more importantly, now there could be a juxtaposition of what's hot and by what's streaming. And now, if the people choose to financially get behind a certain type of artist, you would change the sound of the game. Do you feel me?
Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying.
So with that, and a lot of people being pigeonholed into sex, money, and murder, or sex, drug use, and violence, now as an artist, you have an opportunity to say what you want to say and make more money from it. And then in turn, that could lead to a higher dividend when it comes to being seen, looked for, and with revenue. What do you think about that? How would that affect you in the best light possible?
I think it's a great. You know what I'm saying? It's a great opportunity for all of us. I was one of the guys who always said that, there's enough room for everybody to eat. And it truly was, because I already knew years ago that a lot of numbers were being manipulated in regards to like people having sales, like because I remember speaking with executives like real young. Like I remember speaking with Jason Swanston, and he was breaking down to me like back then when I was a kid. I was probably about 18, 19. I had a consultation with him and my manager, and man, the brother was so gracious, man. Like we went over the time. He didn't even charge us, man. All that knowledge he gave, he didn't even charge us. And one of the key things that I took away from that meeting, I remember him talking about, was that, based on the type of artist that you are and the projection, the potential that you have and where you're trying to get in the game, it would be in your best interest to not focus on streaming. And back then, I didn't want to hear that because it sounded weird to me. Because when you look at everything else that was countering it, they're talking about stream, playlists, all this, right? But he was talking about sales, right? And so he was talking about like making sure you leverage yourself to get proper points on the contract, or royalty rates, and coming at you. And so um now being 26 is like, okay, dang, okay, yeah, he was right and some. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at the Music Modernization Act, I'm like, yeah, that's a great opportunity for a young brother like me. Like, even between the time we had spoke, I remember I was in a contest, right, for a sync placement. And it was with the NFL. It was with the NFL and Got Milk, and there was a particular NFL star who created their own dance, and they said, "Hey, we want you to be one of the 12 artists, in this contest, and we want you to make a song for this star, and pretty much for his dance, it's going to have over 1 billion views on TikToks. You own all the royalties to it, right?" And so the early estimated payout that you'll get in the beginning is about 30,000. Now, you talking about AJ Chaka coming off of Trill as It Gets. That was the Trill as It Gets album opened that opportunity, right? And so, I'm thinking to myself, I like, shoot, I was just trying to put it together. You know what I'm saying? I'm hungry and trying to be consistent. And so being in that contest, I wasn't the winner, but I was one of the finalists. And I remember getting the payment from them. I was like, damn, that was real. Like it kind of gave me chills because they was like, I was like, dang, like I almost got a nice little payment, 30 bands for some easy work I do in my home. You know what I'm saying? And they said it was gonna have 1 billion views. Like I remember me and my management team like sitting on the meetings. I'm like, they're saying it right, like 1 billion views, and I'm listening, and I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm not really taking it to heed like that. So as we transition, and they never announced who the winner was unless they formally contacted you, hey, you're the winner, right? And so I'm on my Instagram scrolling down the feed, right? And I'm looking, I see the winner. It's a commercial on the joint, man, and I go to the TikTok over 1 billion. I was like, whoa. I was like, yo, that was for real. So that's when the reality hit. I was like, yo, you almost became like an overnight sensation, literally. I'm like, oh, I'm like, but that's not overnight though. So when I look at the Music Modernization Act, I'm like, wow, I would have got 30 bands, plus I would have owned the complete master to the song. So I would have benefited from that song more than the person who made the dance, and that's an NFL star. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I would have got that look from major corporations, right? And so, in terms of when you get to bring the money flow and it's coming in, you know what I'm saying? I'm thinking to myself like, wow, this money thing is gonna start elevating. So a guy like me, I'm already grassroots. Where when I just put out my newest album, I know we're gonna get into it. I put it out for sale first. I didn't put it out on streaming. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember looking at like Rock Marciano. You know what I'm saying? How he does his formula with putting out projects. And another guy, who I have a lot of respect for, the great late Nipsey Hussle. When he did the Crenshaw project, selling it for $100, the mixtape and people buying it. I experienced that with Trill as It Gets. So when I had put that album out, I had a couple people that actually bought that album like more than a couple for $100, even if it was off a Bandcamp. And so that was the first time somebody ever just dropped like a hundo, like a C note, just for the album. And that really woke my mind up to the possibility of what can be done in terms of allocating funds with this music. And so the Music Modernization Act, if they bring it up to a penny and we could run it up quick, and I'm thinking things with sync placements and different avenues to exploit the song in a positive way, man, that's a great opportunity, especially for independent artists. I believe you're muted, my brother.
Pardon me. Look at how that even will affect the mainstream artists, because I remember back in the day, DMX had an issue with Def Jam when they wanted to do Def Jam Vendetta 2, and they said they were going to pay him 5 cents, 15 cents per game. When it's his music, his likeness, and his stuff, that right there is the things that bother me highly when it comes to music. You have another artist that's chiming in and said they like to learn about the sync process from you. Shout out to Chaos, the Rowdy MC.
Shout
That's my
out.
guy right there.
Hey,
That's my
most
dude.
definitely. Tap in with me, AJ Chaka. I'm the easiest guy to find. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he said he would like to have some conversations with you. And that's something that, Heritage Hip Hop is all about. I don't know much about it, but I do know a little bit about that. And I know how these companies put out these bulletins looking for music. And part of them wanting you is not only loving your music, but connecting with your look. My man, why you cut your hair, bro? Why you cut your hair?
Hey, man, look, yo, everybody know, you know what I'm saying? My mom is my manager, right? She a OG in the area, and from being from Long Island too. So, yo, I'm in the shop, like we in the shop because we're gonna be doing some work, you know what I'm saying, some promotional work. And so, I'm tightening up. My barber, me and him, we've been on a chord with this idea for like a year. And so I'm in the barber shop, man, you know what I'm saying? Like I come in, salute my man Ro, my barber, and I'm watching her get her cut, you know what I'm saying? Mama K. And I'm like, okay, yeah. And as I'm looking, he kind of looked over at me like, I don't think she really heard what he said. I'm sitting down. He's like, hey, he said, you kind of thinking about it, huh? This one of them days? I was like, I don't know, man. Hey, it might be. It might be. So when she got up from the chair, she on the phone handling business, talking music stuff, right? With some of her other associates in the game. I get in the chair and I'm like, yeah, man. I'm looking in the mirror right before we do the cut, and I'm like, yeah, you go ahead and let's go ahead and do it, bro. Let's go ahead and do it, man. It just felt right in the spirit right there. I just went with it, man. And I was in the summer, man. I want to say that was back in July, man. Yeah, I'm getting my hair cut, man. She turned over. She like, whoa, like, you know what I'm saying? But hey, the cut was fresh, man. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it's all about. I'm on my Tyrese baby boy right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not getting put in the headlock by Ving Rhames. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? But this look, right, with cutting the locks off, my management, my mentors, my management, shout out to my one of my mentors, Kason Allah from the group Mad Flavor from back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And I remember like everybody was pissed, man. Like, yo, they was pissed that I cut my locks off. They like, yo, that was your look. Like, bro, you had an identity to you that people knew, you know what I'm saying? But that kid who had the locks, when I look at my time in the game and in my evolution as an MC and as a person, I'm like, man, he was a good kid, you know what I'm saying? Like AJ Chaka with the locks, he was cool. AJ Chaka with the locks got me to where I'm at now. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that young brother, you know what I'm saying? But I knew eventually, based on what I was working on at that time, I knew I wanted to make a big splash in the game, and I was going to make a transition. I said, I'm a fighter, you know what I'm saying? I'm a martial artist, you know what I'm saying? So when I look at it like that, I was just going back to myself. And so when I cut those locks off, it was spiritual, man. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I'm still riding a high from cutting my locks off. And that was back in July. I'm still like, when people see me who haven't seen me in a while, they're blown away. Like, I got fans who only knew me is the guy with locks ever since 2015, 14, 15, 16, 17, around that time. That's who they knew me as, you know what I'm saying? And I said it's time for that to change, because I felt like I was getting boxed in, like certain opportunities wouldn't align with me that I was trying to align with and work towards manifest, you know what I'm saying? And I felt like at that time, the projection of me, or the perception, excuse me, uh based on how I was moving at that time, which wasn't bad. It's just people knew me as that guy in particular, and that's kind of the only person they knew me as. So with cutting the locks, I knew it was going to be a big rebrand, and I'm reintroducing the grown man AJ Chaka. You know what I'm saying? The more consistent age, he has more workout, he has more experiences, you know what I'm saying? He's more refined, so even his style is more equivocated at this point, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, um, I knew that was gonna be the big shift, and so that was, that came to the chop. That's what it was, man.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about growth with AJ Chaka. Now, before we get into his album, I like to tell y'all that, this interview is hot. We cooking right now, but we ain't turned up the heat yet. How you feel so far? Are you good?
Oh man, we just getting started. I already know how this go now. I'm a vet now, so yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so let's build this off the table. Let's go into our commercial so we can get y'all prep for the next part of the interview. Stay tuned.
Hey, Redman is in the building, of course. Jersey's finest, all about them bars, marijuana smoker. Hey, PSA announcement. I need everybody go support. That's right, support my fucking state, my city. Heritage Hip Hop, a New Jersey media source that celebrates New Jersey hip hop worldwide. Facts. And we are celebrating our legends right here, Jersey, baby. Please subscribe to Heritage Hip Hop on social media. That is Heritage Hip Hop on social media. Jersey, you know I love you. Jersey, you know we got bars and we got music and we got legends all day. And if you believe in Jersey and you love Jersey like I do, support that Heritage Hip Hop on all social media platforms. This is Redman and I approve this message.
Shout out to the OG. Thank you for the shout out and the look.
Yo,
right?
shout out to Redman. Yo, my family, we love Redman. You know what I'm saying? Red and Map, them my dudes, man. So shout out to Redman. It's pretty dope to see, man, for real.
No doubt, man. Like I said, we all elevating up around here.
Yeah.
We getting there.
Hey, we ain't got no choice, man. We got no choice.
Exactly. Because we're going to sit at those tables that are now being vacated by people, and we're going to raise the bar.
Right.
Which brings me to an album to talk about right now. GT3 Chakology, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now, this album for me was a treat. And I want to start from the beginning and let you handle the end while I highlight the middle. Do you mind?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Talk to me about the album cover, because it's very ominous when a person puts their youth on an album to give word to a bigger message. Talk to me about that.
That's one of my favorite pictures from my childhood, man. That was probably about 05, 06. And I remember particularly, like, me and my family, we had this swag, man. You know what I'm saying? We always had style, man. Shout out to my parents, man. They from New York, man, Long Island. And me being from the West Coast, I was just blessed to just have a eye to see fashion. You know, my dad's an artist, not an MC, but he knows how to draw and paint very well. So I remember just seeing him do his work. And, my parents always had push like creativity, you know what I'm saying? No matter what. So, that pick right there, man. Yeah, that was around the time. What was my fits like, man? I used to wear my, my long sleeve collar shirts, nice and pressed, with the stars jeans with the crease in it, with some all white Air Force Ones, smelling good going to school, man. I used to be like, man, school's amazing. All the females like you, the teacher think you great, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, that was before, you know what I'm saying, when the kid go to school and they actually like to learn, you know what I'm saying? So that was a great time, man. And that picture is very reminiscent of where I'm at now. Like, that's why I made it the album cover, because the energy from that picture during that time frame, man, that kid he just had an abundance mindset, man. Like, that kid, right, he believed anything could be achieved, you know what I'm saying? He was just limitless in the way he did things. That's the way all the OGs and adults would speak of him. So now, being a man now, I was like, man, I want to tap back into some of that swagger, man. I want to tap back into some of that energy. And I felt like I had strayed away from that, actually, you know what I'm saying? And that was one of the things that actually made me really great in who I am. And so, coming with GT3 Chakology, I knew it was like, this right. Just even the color pattern of how I did the artwork, you know what I'm saying, for the front and back. I just wanted to give you that feel like when I was coming up with the different colors and like just the vibrancy from it, because I knew when the people listen to the music, that's what they're definitely going to receive, you know what I'm saying? And so with the hair being cut off, the kids smiling, shining, you know what I'm saying, the colors glistening right next to them, that's how I feel right now. And it's a great space, man, for real, for real.
I got two messages from this album though. I felt you were talking to yourself on the album, and the child was talking to the world on this album. Am I correct?
Absolutely. That was the actual goal of this album. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to get back again, into that energy, that swagger of that kid, because he believed that kid, there was no limit. You know what I'm saying? Like if you said that something couldn't be done, he'd be like, yes, it can, because I know I can do it. You know what I'm saying? And he'll just do it. When I was a kid, like I used to make adults laugh, like because like I used to pull up on adults and have a real conversation with them, and we be dropping knowledge back and forth. And I was a kid, you know what I'm saying? And even just being one of those kids, like I remember coming up, I used to amaze people. Like, yo, I remember riding like a unicycle, a bike, skateboard, and all type of little stuff, and doing it for the first time without anybody showing me. Like I see somebody do it, and then I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. And then I go try it out and I do it perfectly just like they did. And that was a thing that used to surprise people when I was a kid. And so just that GT3 Chakology is like, man, I'm getting back to that, man, because I know that's in me. You know what I'm saying? And so the goal of this album, as I was finishing it, was with each song that I complete, I felt like I was getting closer to that
E-
verse.
okay. Each level of manhood comes with a certain pain, right? And I think because I've been trying to do this for the longest of time, and Lord have mercy, it's the hardest thing I've been trying to do. When you want to put an album out, you got to find the person who can help you get your voice out so somebody can hear the message, not only groove to a message. How did you connect with Nam Nitty? Shout out to the Monopoly family. How did he bring out what you were looking for in this project?
Yeah, man. Shout out to the bro, Nam Nitty, man. I remember the first time we met, man. I want to say back in the year we did Trilogy Gets. I was riding with the Monopoly family. I think Nam Nitty had flew all the way out to Texas, and we ended up doing like a show going all the way out to Nashville, Tennessee. And I remember the first time we met, like I don't know what it was. Like I had an attitude that day. I don't know what, for some reason. I'm not. That's normally not how I am, but I think something just kind of killed my mood. And so when I met bro, it wasn't the most pleasant, way to greet him. You know what I'm saying? And he kind of grew on me, and so it was weird. Like my mind was fixated on other things, and I remember he just started playing beats, and I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? So we going on this ride, man. Everybody know on the road trip, hey, Nam Nitty gonna hog the Bluetooth, man. You know what I'm saying? So he gonna hog the Bluetooth. And so just the whole damn time, it felt like shit. He was just playing beats. And so, I'm hearing he rap. I remember, he had gave me a CD to Crack Baby, and so I was like, okay, man, I was checking this stuff out. My man, this dude dope. We was just building over that trip and stuff, getting closer. And man, just through the time, man, we did shows, man, building with the Monopoly, man. You know what I'm saying? Them coming out here to Texas and stuff, man. Not the Monopoly family, shout out to them. They like affiliated with Neo Go, so it's all love in the family, man. We all support each other, whether with shows and stuff or just knocking records out. That's a great privilege, man, because them dudes is killing it right now, you know what I'm saying? But, in terms of Nam Nitty, you know, I think I was. It all started with one beat. It actually started with the beat for the song "Almighty." And so when we was on the road, I remember him playing that. We was going to Nashville, and I was like, "Damn!" Damn, I ain't heard nothing like this, and I don't think when the last time I heard something like this, man. It sounded like where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like. I said, yo, what you doing with that, bro? And he was doing something. He was gonna do something. He had a whole idea and record plan for it. And I was like, yo, I remember it took like a whole year. Like, no, I think a year and some change. Like, I was still talking to bro, like, hey, bro, yo, what's up with that one beat? You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I ain't really care about nothing else. I was trying to get that one beat because I knew, like, back then I was trying to expand my sound, and I was like, yo, I need something that's rich and kind of remind me where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? Where I started in hip hop, and that was one of those ones. And so it kind of just built from there, you know what I mean? After putting out, my slew of projects with Real As It Gets, the extension of Trill As It Gets, and then I put out the Domino Effect Ego versus Pride EP. that was just a soft rebrand where we didn't announce, but I knew that project was going to be the change of pace towards the direction I was trying to get. And so, it all started back in January 2023. Just hitting Nitty up, you know what I'm saying? I was actually, it's crazy to say, man, I was actually like damn near about to come off like some music lawsuit type shit, man. Like, yeah, man. That's why I don't really talk about the Trilogy Gates, thing. Like, but man, the producer on the joint, man, he shady dude, man. You know what I'm saying? And I only want to say his name just to give him no press. You know what I'm saying? It's really, but people can look it up, man. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy. Like the album that changed my life and helped me to progress was hindered on the back end a year after by some shady business practices. So that actually affected Real as It Gets. So I had to remove a particular song, you know what I'm saying, and stuff. And the rights owners of that original song, it was the song Good Love. The original rights owners, man, they were so blown away by my take on that song that they still gave me a few options in regards to what I could do going forward. One of them, just being like, shoot, take the joint down, or I could pay out this established fee that we had negotiated, which was the fee they gave me. Man, they gave me a bone on that one. I'm not even gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? And the third option would have been, we just proceed forward in court, and do that how that go. You know what I'm saying? But I know the producer, you know what I'm saying, going back and forth with him, we supposed to legitimize some of the paperwork with his attorney and stuff. And I remember him, falling short on his word about how he'll be able to, because he put me in this position, you know, he'll man up and pay the fee that way we can keep the record out. But ultimately, it never came to fruition out. And after a certain amount of time of the people reaching out, I was just, me and my management, we was just like, nah, let's just go ahead and take that down, man. And we could pay it because we had it, but it was like, it's just the principle of it. You said you was gonna pay it, you kind of got us in this position, and now we getting exposed. So I didn't like that, and that kind of put me like in a little depressive episode, man. After Real as It Gets, so it really hindered the marketing for that project and the proper funding. Like I had to remove the project. It had affected the sales. You know what I'm saying? And then it affected the listening on that project. And just from that time, I was just depressed, man. That was like 2022. I'm coming off of doing a great show with the Monopoly family. Like I did a show with Mr. Cheeks and them, you know what I'm saying? And so Lost Boys, Smith and Wesson, man, them brothers was at my house, man. Like I'll never forget that. That was a phenomenal moment, just building with all those OGs and learning from them, man. You know what I'm saying? And so coming off of that, it's like, damn, man, I was almost like F music, man. Like I'm done with this. Cause a lot of people expect AJ Chaka is like, man, he's a smart dude, man, and he knows how to handle his business, and it was. And so to see that was a slip in the crack, it was like, damn, it made me look back like, damn, now I gotta tighten up even more. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't allow for nothing like that to happen again. And so that's where we get GT3 Chakology. I remember just being depressed. I was still making material. I was just trying to figure out how I'm gonna just pretty much reintroduce myself, because it really affected my whole momentum, man. I had no content out, nothing. It was just sad space. And so I remember hitting Nitty up back in January 2023, and I was like, shoot, man, I'm trying to bounce back from the situation. Like he was supportive of everybody know it, man. He was supportive with helping me out and stuff. And he knew the situation. A lot of people behind the scenes knew this was some shady stuff. And he's like, man, let's just do this album. You know what I'm saying? We was talking about it for a while. And so yeah, that's how I pretty much started. And he sent me like a galore of beats, and I pretty much got to work immediately. And everything he sent me, it was perfectly curated. Because now Nitty, he's an architect of sound. Besides being a talented MC, he's a great listener. And so me and him, we're so detailed. Like I'm one of the guys that reviews his albums, before he releases them, because I like to like give full detail, and I'm like, man, it's dope. We real intricate like that with it. And so he pretty much sent me like the perfect slew of production, man. You know what I'm saying? It was perfect, yo. Shout out to I ain't see the name, but shout out to them in the chat. You know what I'm saying, on the YouTube side, man. CND, salute. But the beast was perfect, man. He knew, like I told him, I was like, man, I'm trying to make something, man. Like I need that West Coast feel in it, but I need that raw hip hop feel in it, and I just need something universal just to tie the people together with. And man, he sent me just that. You know what I'm saying? So I pretty much got to work right away, and that's how you got to GT3 Chakology. You know, shout out to Nam Nitty Monopoly family. My boys is killing it for real.
Yeah, it's like when you have a producer you can vibe with. It's like the producer is the muscle and you're the vein.
Yeah,
It's like they come with the power, but you're feeding the desire to exist within that muscle. Because if you don't use a muscle, it dies. And
right,
without blood flow, the body can't survive. So
right,
you're feeding his creativity and he's creating your desire to be creative.
right.
And you said Almighty. Okay, Almighty was, that was the story. You talking your junk and you got a little female on your side.
Yeah, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, just that's the swagger though, from
Yeah.
that kid, like, cause that's what it was, and it still is like that for me. So it was like, man, I'm done with that struggle rap stuff, man. Like I'm trying to make hip hop records and put it out in the space, man, where like, man, like we could get that feminine energy, you know what I'm saying? And they feel confident standing beside the masculine, you know what I'm saying? And it's balance between the records because I used to love records like that, man. Like, they kind of do a little record like that, or had a female singing on the hook, you know what I'm saying, killing it with the bars. Like, man, that's classic, man. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to get to some of that type of energy because I knew that was something I could do, and it just felt right, man. It felt real. So shout out to my boy David Impey as well. From the group Billy Gang, man. They killing their thing out here and really running it up. So it was a good look, to get him on the song. It's a guy again. Like when I say this thing is full circle, that's a guy who seen me, in the DFW area when I was a teenager, hitting them shows, just trying to be a stagehand and just trying to network, get the game from dudes, and hit him and his clique. They up in the city, you know what I'm saying? They doing their thing, and so for him to tap in and we built a rapport through the years and was able to build, man. That was a great moment, man. That just really showed me, like, man, it's really cool, man, to network and build with people. But one of the things we talked about previously was being able to maintain and nurture the relationship that you establish with the people. You know what I'm saying? And that's something we did. And
Facts.
me and bro up now. So I already know, like, man, when it comes time for the summer, you already know Almighty getting the video. And we're gonna have the baddies in there too. And it's gonna be a great time. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it's all about.
I respect that because that's another side of hip hop that we don't see too much anymore. Like we don't like since R&B has been destroyed
Right.
industry wise, we don't have the song with the R&B singer and the male artist. You know what I'm saying? Or the male artist and the female rhymer. We don't have that too much. They've kind of blended it, and that's caused a stir in the loss of messaging. It's caused a stir in the loss of presentation of bringing different crowds together. Not everybody's the same crowd.
Right.
So when you make music like Almighty, how important is it for you to justify and honor it by having a song like Thugs Cry on the same project?
Because thugs do cry. Thugs do cry. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, in this game of life, man, everybody, is given a set of dice, and it's your chance to roll. Whatever it hits, that's what you get. You know what I'm saying? And so, everybody is gonna deal with pain, at some point. Everybody's gonna deal with a not even pain, man, just a trial and tribulation that's gonna push you forward or it's gonna make you fall, and it's just really Thugs Cry was just a song about being able to rise to the occasion, of that, and being able to be open with yourself, especially in the space where we at today. Like, I feel like since the Trillers It Gets album, like I'm real in tune with the way people are in society today. You know what I'm saying? And like, I feel like a lot of people are not really open towards like black men even crying. That just even saying that sounds weird. Like black men crying. That's just type that. It sounds weird. It doesn't even sound like something you would hear in a normal space, especially in hip hop where we got such a machismo bravado. I'm this, I'm that, and I walk like that. I mean that's what our game is because that's how we really live. But on the on the flip side of it, man, just showing the duality and the balance of this game. You know what I'm saying? It's all about that, and Thug Cry really invokes that for sure.
But how does Thugs Crying and Painful Motivation 2 expose the world to the side of you that may not have had the dreads and needed to talk and evolve?
Man, Painful Motivation, man, that's the sequel to the first song on my first ever mixtape, Story in Rock Island. And so that song is just about building, man, just building from the bottom and just putting one foot in front of the other. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you tie a record like Thugs Cry in with it, sometimes you'll deal with a painful motivation and it'll lead to a point where thugs cry, but the point of Thugs Cry is that, you cried, but you let go at the same time and you were able to move forward. You know what I'm saying? That's the full idea.
The story that you met with the guy who caught the bullet and then changed his life, that's very meaningful.
Right.
And those are lessons that people, like, everybody believes in 50 Cent and Tupac, right? I've heard people say, I got shot 12 times, I'm better than both of them. Not understanding that the art of survival is the art of not being taken out, which means you always live under stress. And a good life is when you don't want to stress, you want to create. As an artist, how do you take life stresses and create something to help people instead of being bogged down by the stress itself?
Really, a lot of those, like we were saying, a lot of those songs are for me. It's really like a song where I'm making these songs to remind myself of what I need to do, and in the process, I think it's able to help the listener as well because they're able to identify with it. You know what I'm saying? Just being. Could you reword the question one more time, please?
I mean, just to put it in layman's terms, life is stressful as hell.
Right.
And you make music to help yourself with stress, but your music also helps other people with stress. How do you make that uplifting thing without letting the stress of life tear you down while you're creating?
Oh, well, pretty much just being grateful. You know what I'm saying? Like just being grateful to just still be here. Like, yeah, like the way I look at my journey in this game, like I started with a group like we're called Ozone Cypress. You know what I'm saying? I thought we were gonna run the DFW, man. Like we really had the full potential to do it, man. I'm telling you. And just never put it together. And now years later, like I'm pretty much the last guy from the crew rapping. We got my boy Price producing in Hollywood, but besides that, like I'm the last guy. You know what I'm saying? And I'm still here. And I'm like, damn. I didn't think it was gonna play out like that when I was younger. I thought we were all gonna be bosses and stuff and elevate to a level. So to see the evolution, it's pretty mind blowing at that. You know what I'm saying?
Does that not go into The Wind? Another last song on the project?
Well, the wind, I knew you was gonna catch that because the wind, it's a play on words, man. It's the wind, right? Because it's a gust of wind that's gonna blow you forward or any direction, but it's also the wind because you got your hand raised because love wins at the end. You know what I'm saying? And so that's really the full tie of it, most definitely, man. So when you hear at the end, I'm telling the girl like, yeah, I'm headed to Paris right now. I catch you, but I'm gonna double back. That's a guy who's grateful with his experiences. Like, man, I'm really doing this. You know what I'm saying? That's a win. And I just so happen to be in another area on the planet just by a gust of the wind. And that's just what it is.
But that's called the winds of change. And the winds of change not only can move your direction, it can move your mind.
Absolutely.
The most satisfying thing I've heard from you when you rhyme is now you rhyming not only from experience, you're rhyming from perspective.
Yeah.
And when you put experience and perspective together, that's a whole lot of book that somebody has to really sit down to enjoy. Your project is not a one-time listen. If people are into lyrics and hearing the story, people will hear the layers of growth. Take your rhyme scheme from Fly Away and pattern that to your rhyme scheme in Devin Booker. There are two different men in them songs.
Right. Absolutely.
Talk to me about how you matured your rhymes and talk about Devin Booker and talk about Fly Away for me.
Yeah, man. I kick it off with Fly Away, man. Man, I had the chorus to that song since I was about 18, 19 years old. I just didn't know what to do with it. I was just trying to find similar to the Rich in My Heart song from Trill as It Gets. Like it was one of the ones I had. I was sitting on it, didn't really have a place for it, found it, then had the experience and perspective to be able to apply the rhymes to it, and that's what it was with Fly Away. So shout out, to the Queen, Silhouette the Poet. Hey, #1 on the charts, Amazon. Y'all know what it is, man. So she, doing her thing. So it was just a great salute to have her on the record. And she was blown away, man. She's an OG, representing Long Beach and stuff, and tied with a bunch of legends out there. And I remember, she was sending the record out to different OGs in the West, man, and people like, yo, who did? Like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So she was really gassing up the kid, man. She really a fan. So I'm a fan of her too. So it's like real dope to just even have that. And so when it came to the rhyming, man, like it just where I'm at with it now, like we want to make lyricism cool again, man. Like I don't want to just rap A B C D A B. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of already done in the format today, where again, like I said before, I thought hip hop was about creativity and originality. So I was like, okay, I need to start rhyming. Like I need to expand and show my audience that I'm not just gonna do the same rhyme, or I'm not just gonna use the same words, because I think a lot of artists get caught up in that. And I was even one who did myself. And so that's why I had challenged myself. Like, nah, I need to start kind of switching up the cadence, switching the rhyme scheme, the pattern, coming at it in a different way to challenge myself and also challenge the listener to not be so comfortable hearing me in a certain way only. And so that was the goal with that. And I know I wanted to drop some punchlines and some real gems on that song. And so I was like, my thing now is like, man, I got to drop punchlines and some real gems on the song with an ill flow and rhyme scheme at the same time. And so that's when you really start getting into that technical aspect, because the way I'm looking at a song like Fly Away, on that out of Chakology, man, like that's a lot of people's favorite song. I was actually blown away. Like I remember some OGs, like they thought all the records on the project sound phenomenal, but they thought in particular with that song, they was like, man, like you were really able to paint a picture, and just the way the beat hits and you rolled that beat and was flowing. It was like, damn, we never really saw you do that. And just to tie it in with that chorus, and she seals it with the poetry at the end, it's like, man, we could tell. Like there was like, I remember K-Son saying to me, he said, now you're starting to make records. These are records that people nominate you for an award, and you walk on the stage and smile for. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it is. And so I'm like, damn, okay, yeah, I'm making records now. So that's, when I look back as a kid, going for the sing placements, or, the old AJ Chaka, the kid with the locks, like he knew how to rhyme. He knew how to make a catchy chorus, or, he knew how to pick a good beat, or, he had a cool delivery, a cadence or whatever, right? But he showed glimpses of potential of greatness of what he could be, but GT3 Chakology was showing me what I can be and who I am now and where I'm going. And so when I look at a song like Fly Away, it's the perfect, representation of that. So when you transition to a song like Devin Booker, man, that's one of the best ones. And that was one of the last beats I got for Chakology. And man, instantly when I heard it, man, I was blown away. I was like, God damn, whoa, like I'm like, I'm hearing them horns. I'm like, man, like I always wanted to rap on real, like swagged out production with the cool horns and real heavyweight bass like that. I feel like #1, the kid with the locks, nobody ever heard him on anything like that, period. But I knew that's the kind of music I always wanted to make. Being a kid, when you was coming in the game, you was like, man, I want to sound like this. I want to sound like this. You know what I'm saying? But then when you start learning how to sound like yourself, and you got to find production for that, that could be difficult. You know what I'm saying? And so I really thank Nam Nitty a lot, because it really just shows how much of an ear he has just to curate these beats and know, like, yeah, I'm sending these to AJ, because I think this time I want to hear AJ Chaka on, because I think he'll sound great on this. And so I was surprised that he sent me that. And so instantly when I heard this, as an MC, a lot of MCs will relate to this when I say this. Like, it's a few beats you might get. Like, you probably ain't put the song out yet, because the beat's so cold, you don't even want to disrespect the beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just want to, the beat so cold, it's special. There's an energy to it that you like, God dang, like, man, I can't waste this one. This one right here, I have to make a statement on this. And so a lot of MCs, they might hold a beat like that. It could be a song that could potentially change their career and put it in another direction, but they ain't put it out because they don't have the right song to it yet. And they like, nah, I gotta, this got to be the one, man. I don't believe in the fact that, hey, this is the one, because if they're all tied together and it's coming from the artist, then they're all the one. You know what I'm saying? But when you see something like that, it's like, man, I heard that joint, man, and man, the rhymes, it's like they wrote themselves, and I was like, man, I remember thinking to myself, I finished that song quick, and I had made a demo to it and all that, and shoot, I was like, man, it sounds great on this, man. John, man, I think John Jiggs will sound great on this, man. I've never heard him on anything like that, and I knew bro was like in a transition where, like, at the time, because it was 2023, like February, January, around that time, and he was working on his projects. What was it? Like Don't Feed the Bears with Shabam Sadiq and Jigonometry 2. And he was like, we'd be on the phone having conversations, building. He was telling me that. So instantly I'm knowing, before I even told him about the song, I'm like, oh yeah. Dang, I gotta get that to him. Cause right now I'm like, shoot, if he working on them 2 albums, he's really locked in right now. And so the verse in return that I would get, man, he probably snap on this. We ain't never heard him on nothing like this. I'm like, oh man, I think this is the one right here. And so yeah, I went ahead and sent it to him, man. Bro was like, dang, like for real, like, man, he was blown away by what I did to it and how I set it up. And so I was like, bro, I just want you to smoke it, bro. Just kill the track, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I wanted people to see how talented he was as well, as a feature. And so it's me and Jigs, we just got a great chemistry, man. It's like, it's almost like a Shaq and Penny type thing, or you know what I mean? LeBron and D Wade type thing, man. So it's pretty cool, you know what I'm saying? But it just so happened to be Devin Booker, so it's Booker and KD, you know what I'm saying? Jigs playing the KD, he's the established vet, the established journeyman in hip hop who's been around, did his thing, do tours, work with some of the best. And then you got the young lion, AJ Chaka, playing the Devin Booker role. His city's on his back. He's coming up. He's gaining more respect in the game, and he's only getting better, and he's getting closer to the goals that he wants to achieve. And so it was just the perfect record, for both of us. And I knew that Jigs was going to be in a transition point with making his sound big, and me with the Chakology. I already knew the goal. Me and Nam Nitty said, when we put this out, it's going to make yo sound big, and so that was the goal altogether. And I'm real glad that people have been really receiving Devin Booker real well. Shout out to the Fleet DJs. I know you locked in with them as well. So the Fleet DJs really been supporting the kids. Shout out to them. I might be there at that Fleet conference down there in Orlando too. I'm really thinking about it for real. So shout out.
Hey man, I like to hear it. But like I said, I like to start at the end to the middle and give you the beginning to the middle and give you the end.
Okay.
So here's the end. The intro track.
Yeah.
Why is the energy in that intro track setting the stage for the rewind and not the initial listen?
Because the best ending is the start. I said that on Rich in My Heart. The best ending is the start, and that's the start of the album. And you know what that song is? That's that kid walking to school in that outfit, going to take his picture, smiling, feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't nothing stop me. That's what Chakology is, man. That is me walking to the beat of my own drum and feeling great about it and confident. I said, this is my etymology. You know what I'm saying? You're now listening to Chakology, and that's for real. I was like, man, because the ology is the science behind what I'm doing. I could have called the album Shakaism, but that would be the application of what I'm doing, and I'm already doing that by rapping and being me. So I'm dropping the science of what I'm doing, and people can learn from it because there's multiple layers of it, and that's why it was Chakology. So I appreciate Nam Nitty. I think that was actually the last song that made the album too. Yeah, it was the second to last song that made the album. You know what I mean? And man, it was a great opportunity, man. You know what I'm saying? I was missing the intro. I had a great album. I was like, man, I need an intro, man. I need something that really set the pace, man, that really give you that, that hip hop feel of like a classic album where you get the intro that's dope. You know what I'm saying? And it just establishes everything perfectly. And that's what Chakology was, man. And so that's the name of the album, GT3 Chakology. It was real dope.
So shout out to you for finding your intro. Shout out to you for finding your voice. Now it's time to tell the world why they should mess with you. Now, this portion of the show is called Stand on Your Square. 30 seconds. Tell the world why you the shit. Go.
Man, I'm the shit because pretty much I done built myself up, my consistency, my hard work, my effort, I'm a student of the game. I done applied to it, a lot of years worked on my craft, refined, earned fans around the world, and I'm only getting better and better. So when you look at it on the business level, that's something to invest in. If you're a fan of hip hop and you like consistent lyricism on dope production, then AJ Chaka's your guy, and it's a bunch of OGs who could salute and give you the cosign on that too. So hey, I don't have to say it. Just go ahead and check it out. Chakology.
All right. That's a businessman for y'all right there. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the end of this interview. It was so damn fast.
Dang.
But we did what we had to do today, which was give you a fresh new face, great music. GT3 Chakology out right now on all platforms. Buy your copy. But if you're in the streaming, if you like it or you love it, I ask that you buy it so you can show yourself more music from this young man as he not only experiences life, but he experiences the greatness of music as well. So how did you like the interview? Did we cook?
Oh man, we was cooking, man. I can still go, man. I'm ready, a couple, hitting the bag, man, working the rounds, man. So yeah, man, it was, it was real dope, you know what I'm saying? And I'm doing my press run for the album right now. And this was the interview as I was actually working on the album. I knew that I wanted to get it to you because you're such a detailed listener and you respect the culture so much that I knew an assessment of my album from you would be realistic and you would actually see the growth because you study the artist, their craft. You don't just listen, oh man, this song sound good. Like you're looking at the rhyme, you're looking at the production, you're looking at the cadence, the delivery, the song structure, the topics, the sequencing. That's a lot of small details within it that make things great. And I know that you're one of the brothers that check in for that, and that's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And so that that's the whole goal of it, man. I'm blown away, and this was a great interview, man. So I'm glad that we knocked this one out. It's gonna be hard to top this one on this run, man, because
of course
it's really gonna be hard, man. I'll be honest.
Of course.
So
have you seen last time? After you do an interview with me, you ready for the world.
Oh man, for sure, man. Hey, that first interview changed my life, man. We went in so much, and a lot of people tapped in, man, and it was blown away. So it kind of created a domino effect of itself. So for that, I appreciate you a lot, my brother. You know what I'm saying, for tapping in and even seeing the potential back then. So now where I'm at now, that kid you even met back then, I didn't even feel like, to me, he's an amateur. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at Chakology, this is AJ Chaka. You want to recommend somebody? Like, this is the guy. Because I remember, I know we're short on time, but it was something I remember you said about, Samad Savage, right? And guys like me, you said like these new set of guys coming in the game, like, man, who not only know how to represent the essence of hip hop, they got the lyrics, but we know how to put the swag to it and just come at it in a different way that's fresh and innovative, but still representing and pushing the culture forward. And so, that's what I'm looking to do with GT3 Chakology. And I appreciate you a lot, my brother, for real.
Hey, man. See, as y'all know, we serious about this hip hop game.
Hey,
I said to everybody, there's only 3 people in the game that y'all need to go to. Ralph McDaniels, Doggy Diamonds, and me. No disrespect to no other podcast, but I know what I do. And I work hard at doing what I do. Salute to the Most High who gave it to me.
Salute.
But he a veteran. You see what that screen say right there? He already know about the rapid fire questions. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not yes or no questions that talk about just songs and art and who got a fat butt or something like that. These are questions that talk about him, his music, and his depth of knowledge. Because we believe in investing in the MC, not just their music, because the song could be here and gone. But if you respect the person who made the art, you have an appreciation for them as their life continues. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So let's play the game. You ready to go?
Absolutely. Let's get it, man. For real, let's go.
And they're not the same questions.
Hey, I forgot them. So, I didn't check the last interview. So I was like, hey, this is perfect. I already knew it was coming. So I'm ready. I'm even more ready. Let's go.
Here's one of the most important questions I have to ask you.
All right.
As a man, you forget the boy in you. And as a boy, you dream of being a man. What is the one thing you want the boy to never forget and the dream that you want the man to have the boy fulfill?
I want the boy to never forget that he can rise up in the game and make money just by having fun like he thought he was going to do. And for the man, as he continues to rise up and become a better man, to never forget the kid who had the big dream.
Part of being a king is the knowledge of the law and the kingdom. What was the one thing about hip hop that you took into law, that you learned and you stick it in you so that you can be the artist or the ruler you choose to be in your music?
How to have confidence, stand 10 toes and really project yourself, have your chest out, being confident but not cocky, and it just on a thin line, and really standing on what you believe in.
Shout out to you for the song Making Plays, because in life, a play on anything could deal with a person's mind or a person's actions. And we always say, learn a person by their actions, not by what they say. So my question to you is, when you make plays, are you looking for people to interpret who you are or to watch the growth of who you are?
I want them to lock in and be invested into the growth of me, because that's why I created the series, is to show the expansion and the progression, evolution of me.
Evolution is a very interesting word, because evolution doesn't always mean change. It means to strengthen and survive.
Right.
There was a law that was passed, which is a lie, ladies and gentlemen, by Charles Darwin, which said, the evolution, survival of the fittest and all that, right? That if something happened, the animal learned how to adapt to the world to become stronger. In our case, we call that survival. We call that dealing with racism. We call that civil rights movement. We call that hip hop. What's the one stance you want hip hop to take that it hasn't? And how would you usher that change in with your music?
Oh man, now we get to the tough ones. Okay, something to usher in and provide change. The ownership of your voice when battling against AI voice modulators in the foreseeable future, and have the copyright and the trademark ownership of your voice and your likeness going forward versus a company taking your voice.
That's interesting, because something that's not even copywritten yet, and that's why people got
It's
so
not.
many songs with so many different voices going on. I heard a new song by a white chick who had a guy pretend to be Tupac rapping in her song, and I was like, "What the?" You know what I mean?
Tupac featuring Drake. You like what?
Horrible, yo. And I'm not against people making mixes,
Right.
but I'm against people taking the computer to fabricate something that's not soulful.
Right.
How about this? Since the industry has sucked the soul out of a lot of the music that we listen to or have been presented with, I'm sorry, because I don't listen to a lot of the music. Because some people send me music and that shit is trash. Sorry, I'm gonna look right in the camera when I say trash. But since the music industry has sucked the soul out of a lot of the presentation of music, what is the spirit of the industry, and why are people fighting to get into something that's so not loyal at all?
But because perception is reality. We're in a game where that it's about manipulating the perception to an audience and allowing them to see what we want them to see. And so when you walk in the actual room, you find out what you've seen is not what actually is. You know what I'm saying?
But actuality is a figment of a person's perception. Look at the world we live in now. The world is turning back to the 1960s, 50s, and 40s right in front of our eyes. Sorry to get political, everybody, but when our former president came out of office, we had people tell people of color, if he doesn't get back in the office, it's going to be open season on y'all. And we saw police brutality, killings, and things rise. Now they're attacking diversity and education, equality, and inclusiveness. I had a lady ask me about, do you remember the name of the college course they had? Oh my gosh. It was something about making Caucasians feel guilty or whatever, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Let's just keep going because I don't want to make it too long. But I had a person ask me, do I teach that in my class? And I'm like, that's a college AP course. I teach 3-year-olds. You know what I'm saying? Like people have people have all these perceptions about what could be here, what should be here, what should we hear, and what should we not hear. But what is the one thing you want people to hear, understand, not only about you, but about the culture that you represent?
Man, that number one, I'm being myself, and in this culture, if you want to move forward and be accepted, not that you should be looking for external acceptance, just be yourself, and that's what it starts with, having respect for yourself. If you got respect for yourself and you got respect for the game, the respect will come back the same or even more tenfold.
Fact. Shout out to Nas the Romantic, the host of A&N and R&B, sister program of Heritage Hip Hop. That's our R&B side. Just for you know too, because you ain't see that.
Oh,
We got
word.
R&B side. Shout out to
Hey.
Nas the Romantic. He said critical race theory is what we're talking about. And yes,
Right.
there's people who are dissecting, especially nowadays. They're dissecting what a man or woman is and keeping us as opposites instead of complementary, which is life-giving. I find it very dope that you make songs about connecting with a female, where in today's society we have modern women, traditional women, simps, or high-value men, betas, sigmas. We have all this bullshit that tears love apart.
Yeah.
That when Tank said the war on black people is not the music of the streets, it's the love that we have for each other that we express in our music. When we hear that's under attack, what is the saving grace of our people if the music does not reflect the love we have? What do you say?
What's the saving grace, man? I say the saving grace. I mean, I could say a lot, but I'll give an answer people don't expect. I say accountability, in therapy, things like that. When you be accountable on our side for what we've allowed to happen, we'll get to a better place on one stance in therapy. Because I gotta run a joke with my friends, man, like where I would say, like, dang, man, people, man, they really got mental health issues, man. You know what I'm saying? And so it's not a joke. You get what I'm saying? It's not a joke. And so when you actually start identifying that and you moving and shaking out here in the streets, you really doing your thing, man. I had an experience, man. I used to work in education, right, man, and in education, man, they say, man, I'm a rock star. When I come in that campus and I affect these teenagers, these kids at that time, man, they like, man, this dude's a rock star. Way he's just able to connect with these kids, man. You know what I'm saying? And I remember an associate I was working with one time. I had my own room set up, laid out. You know what I'm saying? And so, this person comes to my door. The door has a window on it. I said, oh, okay. And so I'm coming to, open the door and speak with this person. Obviously, they have something to say. When I open the door, right, this woman instantly jumps like, woo, and she's like super scared and like something just happened. I'm looking like, what the, I'm like, hey, are you all right? And she said, I'm sorry about that. She said, I'm just a little crazy. And then she just went into a spill about whatever she wanted to talk about. And as she was walking off, I remember just kind of sitting there at the door looking at her walk off. And I'm like, damn, I don't even think she realized she just said that. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, that's something to pay attention towards. I said, I'm going to create a healthy distance between me and that lady going forward. It wasn't nothing but that we had going on, but it's just professional wise. I'm just looking at that like, man, you see the diversity inclusion stuff and like different kind of HR cases and stuff be, character defamation type stuff. I just like, nah, I said, I think I'm gonna create a distance between me and this lady professionally even more. And so, if you don't have nothing to say, real brief, boop, boop, boom, and keep it pushing, I really don't have nothing to say. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, the game is. And, getting back to what we were talking about earlier with survival, that's just survival. My survival instincts kicking in because the energy from that exchange, I'm a real perceptive guy where I'm able to take in things and understand it real quick. And just in that short exchange, I was like, that didn't feel right.
Check this out. Me and my friends always talk about Michael Bay's Transformers 2, the sequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they had these Transformers that had gold teeth, talked in slang, and they were just complete niggas. I can't, that's the word I'm going to use.
I know what you're talking about.
They were absolutely horrible. And they said that the perception of those characters was based on how the mainstream portrays our people. In your definition, what does hip hop have? How do people characterize hip hop wrong? And how can you set them right by example?
I believe that people characterize hip hop wrong based on what a lot of major corporations or different labels, executives have different messages and themes that they want pushed down to the youth. Because ultimately the youth are going to be the ones that are going to continue to push the culture forward as we become more elder statesmen and we give them the advice to move forward in this game. And so, when you have a corporation that's willing to invest, 20 million into you for you to talk down on women and talk down on yourself, and you feed that to the kids and you have a big fan base, man, that's gonna do wonders on the people. Because I'm looking at it again. I said earlier, I don't look at it as followers. I said that's an army. And so if you're the general of that army, right, and through your songs, right, we're casting a spell, right, because within spells is the word. And so, and words create power, you know what I'm saying, and bring it to reality. And so when I'm looking at a young artist that doesn't understand the powerful position that they're in and their ability to influence and affect people, and they agree with these themes, and they make these style songs. And so in real time, when I was working in education, that provided me with an opportunity to have my ear to the streets, because I'm working with high school kids and they're telling me, because they know I'm a successful artist in the city. So they're telling me what kind of artists that they listen to on their own time, or I'll walk up to them and see them on the YouTube. And I'm looking at a slew of different young artists as well, and their message is different from mine. And so as I'm looking at these kids, I'm understanding that they're receiving all of this, and it's being embedded into their psychology. It's being embedded into the way they think in their subconscious, and it can affect them in a negative way in regards to them thinking that it's acceptable for a certain action to be done. And I think that's a product of what's happening in the game. So in order to be able to change that, I think it just gets back to having more artists. One of the things that killed it was that maybe we had people who wanted to tell the truth, but maybe they were the wrong messenger for the time, because of the way that they're trying to tell the truth is a way that's out of date, or it's out of style. And so when I look at it, like, man, you get someone young with some swagger who could talk the same way like everybody else, but they hit you from a different mindset, it could definitely alter someone's view in the way they see reality. And so I think that's what it's going to come down to: just more artists, more dope artists, like a Samaj Savage, a AJ Chaka, like a Monopoly family, you know what I'm saying, a Lou Charles, just different people on the scene who are continuing to push the boundaries of hip hop and stand to actually tell their own story. And so when you tell your own story, you actually provide the audience with an opportunity for growth through originality and creativity and inspiration.
Last two questions. Who's more important, the child or the adult in hip hop?
I probably say the child, because everything, if the child's looking up at hip hop, everything that they see, they believe that's hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like their idea of what's hip hop is what's shown in front of them, and it's going to take them to grow up and become an adult to be able to expand that viewpoint that can lead to make the change. But the overall foundation for the way they interpret it will start from the beginning as a child. And that's what it did with me. And I'm still carrying those traditions in this modern world today. You know what I'm saying?
I respect it, and I thank everybody for listening to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast today, because we talked on the Music Monetization Act, society, music, growth. Yo, this is what a real interview is. It takes you on a journey, and it shows you not only the intellectual side of the artist, but it helps you appreciate the music. So go check out GT3 Chakology out right now. And I hate to say I apologize, but the one thing I want to say is, what I take away from this interview is the love that you have for yourself and your culture. And that answer that you gave was very profound, because it's easier to fix a broken child than to heal a broken man.
Right.
And if we give hip hop the right energy it needs for these youth, the world will once again be turned upside down, because being that it's the number one genre, it could also be the number one change that brings the world together if we allow it.
Right. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? And so, that's going to have to be done strategically within the next coming years. One of the things I say about AJ Chaka, right? We just passed the 50th year of hip hop, right? And so when I look at an album like GT3 Chakology, the way I look at hip hop, I say this is what hip hop sounds like after its 50th year. You know what I'm saying? This isn't well, this song sounds like the 90s, and then this one sounds like, nah, homie. This is what hip hop sounds like after its 50th year. All those previous years when it wasn't even acknowledged. You know what I'm saying? Except for the raw data and the sales, they can't negate that, because it was feeding, these people's families and putting these executives in a position where they could send their kid to a nice Ivy League school. You know what I'm saying? And to be able to get that nice, poised, blue chip education off the backs of a lot of people in the hip hop culture. And so, I'm just saying it for what it is. You know, GT3 Chakology is what hip hop sounds like in its 50th year going forward.
Well, shout out to hip hop and shout out to you. I mean, I think we got there. We got to the last question, and this is the last question. The first time you were on here, I asked you about your legacy that you leave behind that made hip hop better. Here's my question to you now. If the responsibility of an artist is to tell the world about the times in which they're living in, what is the most important subject of hip hop? And what was the most important subject in hip hop that made you who you are?
Okay, that's a good one. So, you know, I'd say the most important subject in hip hop right now is the one that we haven't spoke on. That's what I would say. We're waiting for it. Obviously, the people need it, and so it's gonna be more dope artists and songwriters who are gonna have to challenge the way that people think, and we're gonna have to give y'all that topic that hasn't been spoken of yet, or at least expand it to a viewpoint that nobody's seen yet. And so I like to say I'm one of the guys that's working towards that. And, you know, can you repeat the last part? I'm sorry.
What was the most important lesson in hip hop that you took upon yourself that you learned?
Okay, as far as what I learned, it's to continue to be original. You know what I'm saying? And continue to do what feels right in my spirit, because I got a soul. And so when you listen to GT3 Chakology, it's about connecting with that young kid who loved the game and he had a bunch of soul. Because we're in a digital era now where everything's mechanized and it's devoid of having soul. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what it's all about: maintaining originality, maintaining creativity, and having a mindset and the wherewithal and respect for the game enough to even want to push the culture forward. If you in it, I mean, it's only right. Each one teach one. You gotta lift somebody up.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, always remember that your voice uplifts people more than the verb or the rhyme or the beat can make them nod. Your words will live forever, and beats only live as long as the next wave comes through. If you take your time to make a classic, that's when you're remembered. It is not only about the classic words you speak, it's the classic example of which you live. You agree?
Absolutely.
So hold on, don't go away. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. This podcast was brought to you by heritagehiphop.com, and we thank you for joining AJ Chaka and myself. Please make sure you check out the album and you return to Heritage Hip Hop for more greatness. May the Most High bless you, and peace. And we out.
Real hip hop. Real hip hop. We here. Real